guys, welcome back. Today's video is on how to take your Wright Brothers, some tips and tricks that will help you pass your first time and how to actually study productively. It's broken up into 3 chapters because before your Wright Brothers you would have taken your 3 tests for Airman, Airman First Class, and Senior Airman. So when you first open it up, you see chapter 1, 2, and 3. That's really all you have to study, and it only ends up to be about 80 pages, which is not bad at all. So as you begin to flip through it, you need to be actually reading it. And the book is laid out really nicely. It has objectives, so like for chapter 1, character in the Air Force tradition, it has objective and it says explain why America needs leadership. Now, then it goes on to explain what leadership is, your first steps, and while you're reading, go through and highlight. These are your own books, so you can do what you want with them. You can also make notes in the margins, which will help a lot. If you use one color, like the first time you go through, and if you go through it again, use a different color, helps you differentiate what you were thinking during different times, and I think that really helped me. So, like right here, it says, any study of the art of leadership should begin with the most important element, character. And that, I can tell you, is one of the questions on the Billy Mitchell. That is the very first question. What is the most important thing about leaders? Character. So then it goes on to talk about warrior spirit, and you can see here that I have highlighted with blue, and then up at the top I have like an underline, just things like that. As you go on, you see more objectives. So one of the ways you can study for that is by what I did here. This is actually for chapter 7, but it's the only page I could find that was actually answered on. And for this one, I actually ended up just doing all the evens instead of all of them because there ended up to be a lot of questions. But as I was going along, I just was like, describe the concept of self-awareness. So then I was like, oh, look, right there, self-awareness. And then you can either just mentally go through and like read those and write them and like think through it, or you can actually write it down like I did here, which is a great study guide eventually when you're studying for things like your Billy Mitchell, your Earhart, your Eaker, your Spots. So another thing I found really important to study for was the dates, especially people's names. Like right here, it talks about Lou Gehrig, and it talks about how he played baseball for 37 years, was diagnosed with ALS. Those kind of things I find to be very influential because they're really easy for the questions for them to ask, because they can just go, who is this person? Or pick out the false answer for it. So as you're going along, things like right here, failed leadership. Nixon leaves the White House in disgrace. It has a date, June 17, 1972, 5 men are arrested in a third-rate burglary. Nixon, it talks about that. That'd be a good thing to just keep in mind, highlight, keep it in mind. Because dates I find to be really important. See, and then as I took it, I actually failed my first time because I didn't know anything about it. I've learned since then. But like right here, it talks about a team as a collection. And what happened is I remembered. So what you do after you've taken your first test and you don't know if you passed or failed, just go ahead and write down some thoughts. Like, oh, it talked about leadership a whole lot, about this and this and this, or this and this, and oh, I remember them mentioning Nixon. So then when you're going back to study again for your second time, all you have to do is go, oh, Nixon, duh, okay, where's Nixon? And that's why I ended up doing here, which is something really smart that I thought that I did. Because the blue, I found it important the first time, and then I came back and was like, oh, bold, need to study that. And then once you get to the back or the end of a chapter, it has this. It's pretty awesome. It's a review quiz. So it has, what is the Air Force definition of leadership? Page 63. Because you can just go back and answer those, and it will help you if you're really feeling nervous. I am positive if you did all the objectives and the review quizzes at the end of each chapter, you would pass with flying colors. Because these tests are designed for you to pass them if you study and if you know your stuff. Also keep in mind that there is some drill and ceremony stuff. I remember like on Billy Mitchell, there was stuff about a guide on like uniforms and stuff. And if you look up stripes to diamonds on Cat members, I'll have a link below. It tells you specifically that you don't only have to, the test does not only cover the books, but it also covers things like AFMAN 36-2203, 39-1, Cap Regs, things like that. Normal drill, if you're making it to Staff Sergeant, you should probably know that stuff. Besides what's on the test, it's 25 questions. I do not believe it's timed. It's super easy. or it's not super easy, but it's super manageable and doable. So don't stress out about it. It's just your staff sergeant. It's exciting to make it. You're going to be called sergeant. You're moving up in the ranks. And I really encourage you not to just sit there like a little duck and be like, oh, I've made it to senior airman. Good for me. Seriously, make it. Take the test. It's not that hard. You can do it. And just keep in mind that all people have different levels of what they know and how easy or hard things are. Because for so many people, on your first time, or I know someone who took it 5 times. I mean, so guys, I hope this video helped a little bit. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments. I reply to every single one and I want your feedback. Once again, see you next time.